There we go. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to The Cut. We are here today to present you some stuff. If you don't already know, I'm Anthony Oquindo, one of your hosts. I got my other co-host right here, Tom Roth. What's up, Tom?
What up?
All right, so, yeah. We got a lot to get to today.
In a short amount of time.
Tom has to get out of here. But we're going to talk about some stuff. If you don't know, if you don't know this person right here, this is
Katie Couric.
Oh my gosh. I see it.
As Lil Wayne said, "What's up, Miss Katie?"
Oh my God. I forgot he said that.
Yeah.
All right. But if you don't know who this is the governor of New Mexico. And if you're not familiar with what she has done, Tom, I'm gonna talk to you about this. All right, you are not.
Cool.
All right, so Tom, this is the governor of New Mexico.
Okay.
And so she's really trying to screw everyone over right now, and hardcore. Like,
well, that title's misleading then.
Oh,
she has a plan for gun violence and fentanyl reduction. That sounds okay to me.
It sounds okay on the surface.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It sounds okay on the surface. So right here, this is a press release from the governor of New Mexico.
Now, forgive me real quick. I apologize. Just so I have more clarity. Is fentanyl that big of an issue out there outside of like, is it a bigger problem than say it is in like Ashtabula, Cleveland, Ohio in general, like an opiate?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't speak on that because I don't know the numbers there, right?
Well,
but
the reason
apparently
I ask is because she's doing this, but like I haven't heard of like DeWine doing something. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about what they're actually doing. Okay. So right here we can see it. Governor announces statewide enforcement plan for gun violence, fentanyl reduction. Oh my goodness, I'm popping stuff up over here. Fentanyl reduction. Plan includes 30-day suspension of concealed open carry in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County.
Okay.
This is the part. What is going on over here?
You have a highlighter?
Yeah, apparently. 30-day concealed open carry suspension.
So
is what.
So it's just Albuquerque and it's just that county.
That county.
So not statewide.
Not statewide.
So why is... Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
All right.
Just so I have clarity, I apologize to interrupt.
No. You're fine. So she has announced this, this 30-day ban. Okay. And let's take a look at, let's take a look at the announcement.
Okay. Cool.
All right.
With our cool new software.
Our cool new software that I think only sometimes cooperates. Yep, see, here we go. Only sometimes. All right. And here is her making the announcement for the ban. Let's take a listen.
So in this public health order, which is effective today, September 8th, which lasts 30 days, and then we'll, like all the other public health orders, we will either amend or renew or adjust, depending upon where
so
we
not
are.
Abolish.
So effective immediately.
She said maybe in.
No person
Listen.
other than a law enforcement officer or licensed security officer shall possess a firearm, either openly or concealed, within cities or counties, averaging 1,000 or more violent crimes per 100,000, and more than 90 firearm-related emergency department visits. So to put that in sort of a layman's terms, for 30 days in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, it's the only place that meets both those standards. Statewide order, but only one place meets both criteria. We have far too many ER gunshot.
I see why it was worded that way now.
Right.
So, I do. So it starts here. But then
starts
here, but then can encompass.
Oh yeah, if it gets bad enough, right? And it's based on ratios.
Okay.
It's based on ratios as far as like population, what is it, in gun related deaths,
Yes.
right? So
one per every 1,000, I think she said.
I don't know the exact numbers, and I'm sure it's probably pretty important. But the point is, she said it's a statewide order. So if your county or your city, was this based off county or city?
It was based off county.
County. Okay. So based off those numbers, the moment that your area, your county, falls within that criteria, boom.
So what happens if it falls out of that?
For the next 30 days.
Okay.
Right. Now, I wonder, I'm curious to know, after these 30 days, she said we can end or renew or adjust, right?
Yes.
So after these 30 days, if this county is not out of her doesn't meet her criteria anymore, obviously it would be lifted, right?
Correct. That's what her verbiage is.
Now, if it's 30 days, how much do you think is really going to change? And how is information going to be updated in 30 days, right? So in 30 days, it's not going to be exactly my point.
I think it's a 90-day turnaround for reporting. Just like, I mean, think about it like,
or is
like
it
a
on
credit report.
Or she said it was based off of FBI data, I believe she said. So is it?
Ooh,
yeah. So
that's even more red tape.
That's probably an annual report.
That's what I was about to get at. That's annual or shit, Anthony. It could be semi-annual. It could be every 2 years.
Right. So she said end, renew. You see how she said renew? Mm-hmm. Let's go back.
She put emphasis on renew.
And we have far
she
too many crimes.
She definitely did. End, renew,
or more violent crimes per 100,000.
It's at the beginning. We're not going to go all the way back. But yeah, so you see what she's saying. Actually, I want to play it a little bit more because there's something right after this that she says that I want to touch on here in a little bit.
90 firearm-related emergency department visits. So to put that in sort of a layman's terms, for 30 days in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, it's the only place that meets both those standards. Statewide order, but only one place meets both criteria. We have far too many ER gunshot visits, and we have far too many crimes involving firearms. We are suspending open and concealed carry. The purpose is to try to create a cooling off period while we figure out how we can better address public safety and gun violence. Now, I am sure as I go through the rest of this, there are going to be a lot of questions about whether or not we think we have the legal rights to do that.
All right, and we'll get there too. But she didn't mention what I wanted her to mention in there. But there is something.
I don't like the look of this lady.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be funny when I say that. It's just something about her looks off.
So Tom, first I want your first initial reaction from the announcement.
I get the thought process because I mean, like if you take guns out of somewhere, reason to believe gun related things will stop happening in theory if you take guns away, right? So I understand like maybe like the thesis of it, mm-hmm. but the support. So let me just go to like a college essay type thing, right? So whenever you would write a college essay, what they would have you do is they would have you create a thesis statement, and then your entire paper is built upon supporting your thesis statement, right? And we kind of learned that in high school a little bit, you know what I mean? Like how to create a cognizant argument, okay?
Right.
So I understand the argument, but I don't understand what she's doing in practice. So I don't understand her supporting paragraphs, right? So if you don't support your thesis statement, her main argument with a good supporting paragraphs, your conclusatory statement or how you wrap your paper up won't make sense, right? Because you didn't support anything, so you can't have a strong conclusion to what you're arguing. So I don't think that her arguments here are so far are good supporting arguments, because you have this list of criteria that you want to eliminate these things, right? Okay, well, we're going to take the guns out. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Okay, cool. But you're saying you either have the ability to end it, renew it, or like amend, essentially. I think she said amend, right?
Adjust,
excuse me. So you say these things, right? How can you have a plan in place? If I were to put a plan that radical in place on something, I would need point A, and then the bullet points going off of point A, right? And then bullet points off of those bullet points on if this happens, this is going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You create all these bullet points.
So like
this chick don't even have anything. She doesn't have anything here so far.
All right. So
it's infuriating to listen to this.
Why do you think she's doing it?
I think she's doing it because these are hot button issues that require that have a lot of buzzwords behind them, right? Gun violence. It's a very hot button issue in the country, right? Fentanyl overdoses, opioid overdoses in general are a hot button issue within our country. And what political affiliation does she belong to?
She's a Democrat.
She's a Democrat. Okay.
Is that surprising?
That makes sense. And I'm not saying that because of how the Democrats technically do things in certain ways or some of their belief systems, because there are right-leaning Democrats, right? Just like there are left-leaning Republicans.
I don't know, man, but that's a different
That's where
topic.
you get Bill Maher.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is it makes sense because this is right near an election cycle, and she could be a big supporter or well, obviously she's a supporter of President Biden, but she also might be someone who's stands to gain a lot from pushing one of his agendas, right? And could be rewarded in the future.
So here, let's get into this, because
if that makes sense.
I'm going to jump around a little bit here.
Okay, jump around.
Let me see. Is this what I'm looking for? I don't believe this is a tab. Right here. Yes.
You got different chapters, my man.
Okay. So right here, she's going to talk about, she's going to mention some stuff, and then I'll get to my point here in just a second.
Let's do it.
Yeah. What your point is about.
Oh, yeah, let me change the playback speed. I'm sure you guys don't want to.
Oh, man, it's like
try to keep up.
Chipettes.
Okay, here we go.
The Constitution, isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your...
Oh, wrong clip.
No, please keep going.
No,
I
hold
like
on.
this.
Nope, I want to go back to this one here.
Motherfucker.
All right.
You're on the same one, brother.
I know what to do.
You clicked the same one.
Ah, geez, here we go.
Guys, you see
I didn't
what I'm
click the same one.
You did.
I didn't, did I?
You did, you handsome son of a bitch. You did.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. So this is the one I was looking for.
Legislature, I think it would be unfair not to thank them for their courage. And one
And I'm got a little prep.
That might help us not get shadow banned on YouTube if you put it at that speed, though.
Maybe, but
I'm going to need all the local different jurisdictions to take seriously that they have tools at their disposal, including an extreme risk protection order.
Take note of that.
Not every jurisdiction, I think, takes very seriously. It's the law, and when someone requests that be undertaken or evaluated, I would beseech every jurisdiction to do that.
That's not what
if you didn't
means.
see the CNN article that basically said, I will paraphrase, New Mexico's done good work, effective leadership, and all the evidence-based, right, reduction in gun violence policies. But they aren't actually utilized. Well, we should be utilizing all of those, and I'm always open to evidence-based strategies that I think will reduce gun violence, including, which they didn't ask for, but I will put on the call. I will ask for another ban on assault weapons.
Boom,
and I should
take note of
note
that.
not everyone sitting at this table will support that idea either. But it's something that I believe needs to be done around the country, and I hope it gets done in New Mexico. Don't know, Kevin, what my odds are to.
That is the point I want to get to. She is pushing for a weapons ban. And you know what this is? This is a soft trial. This is a soft trial because this is going to be, are you constitutional? You know, this is, you have a right to the Second Amendment. You have an absolute right to
the implications on this are very scary.
The implications are very scary. And that's what I want to touch on, because if she can claim a public health order, right? They did that with COVID.
They did.
You couldn't do anything in COVID.
They couldn't.
Your right to even travel was restricted.
Correct.
With COVID.
Correct.
Right? Soft trial on our First Amendment.
Correct. Second Amendment.
This is a soft trial on our Second Amendment.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, you're talking about okay.
COVID.
I see.
This is a soft trial on our Second Amendment. How quick are we going to give up our Second Amendment right? How easily are we going to give up our Second Amendment right?
We're not. I'm going to tell you why.
We gave up our First Amendment right with COVID. This is going to be.
Did we though? Did we think about
a lot of people did not.
A lot of people did not.
But a lot of people did.
Correct. Those are the people that willingly listened. Right?
Right.
Those are the people that willingly listened. I was a person that willingly listened, mainly because I really don't like people outside of you, Willie, David, and Dave, right? And Megan, so I loved it. I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to see anyone, right?
Right.
But there were a lot of people, and, I'm not going to name names or anything, but people that we know, people that we're cool with, they were like, fuck that, I'm having a fucking party in my house. And then 40 people would show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a willing disregard for those people telling you what to do. And then this is why I'm not worried.
Okay.
You've got people like you that I know, right? People like you. I got a guy that works at the same dealer network that I do in another store who is all about his Second Amendment rights. That son of a bitch is nuts. Like, in terms of like,
right. So he won't stand for some shit like this.
He won't stand for shit like that.
And there are most Americans won't, but
Americans won't.
But listen, most Americans won't. Whenever COVID and the riots happen,
yeah,
more people went and bought guns than ever before. And cars. Because most people, whether you're left or right, not far left like her, right? Let's put her image back up here. Not far left like that lady right there.
Wish.com, Katie Couric.
Right? So she's far left. So she doesn't want guns.
No, she doesn't.
Right? So what she's just admitted is that she's trying to do an assault rifle ban. She admitted that.
Yes.
And what she's doing in New Mexico is a soft run for a nationwide public health order to ban assault weapons or ban weapons in general. They're taking these public health orders and they are stretching them so thin that there's some of this stuff. So with COVID, there were a lot of lawsuits.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
States getting sued. I think state of Ohio has a lawsuit against it because of the public health order, right?
Yes. And it's ongoing. And the fact that it's even being considered taken to trial is ludicrous.
Right. That's my point. Because if you can make a small argument like this,
yes,
the possibility that it's even being considered shows that our rights are malleable.
Yes. That's a great word. Malleable is a fantastic word for that, and
they shouldn't be.
You can stretch, you can mold it in the way you see fit.
Right.
But that's the rights aren't.
That's scary, which means if they're malleable, they're able to be stretched so thin that they're virtually non-existent.
But another definition of malleable means to be disputed. The shape can be disputed, right? That serves an implication that our rights are disputable, that our amendments are disputable. And that's not the intention that was given when the founding fathers, quote, if that's the right terminology, I don't mean to sound ignorant, but that's not what they had in mind when they came together. Hey, these are the rights of every American citizen. These aren't disputable. Right? They aren't disputable. But the other thing is if you think about this, what was the main tenet of founding America, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Right.
Correct? And it said all men are created equal. Mm-hmm. Okay? Slaves, African Americans, were literally denied rights.
Right. They were not.
They weren't given the rights. So we've proven, even with the founding fathers saying that these are the rights and they're not up for debate, those rights were malleable at that time. So now think
at that
about
time.
Exactly. So think about going forward in history, how we've extrapolated like our global reach through not just like trade agreements and, you know, being more connected, you know, through the internet and everything with other countries. We're more connected than we've ever been with these countries and more intrinsically linked, right? But also as an American people, we've done that with each other. We become more intrinsically linked through the power of social media, through the power of FaceTime, through YouTube, divisive YouTube videos such as this, right? And divisive things that people say, okay? So now when you look at it, she is making a mockery of a Second Amendment right, I think as severe as when slave owners it makes me sick, as when slave owners played with the rights of men. I think it's not as bad as that, but I would say it's on par with that. And the biggest thing I think that we need to remember is, if one person has the power to do this, right, and to start this, because it's not from her. This chick is definitely just a puppet, and it's Joe Biden's puppet. Okay, do you really think that a Democrat
Biden is a puppet, so I wouldn't say it's
do you think he'd win re-election if something like this happens and he starts a soft rollout? Absolutely not. A Republican would win in a fucking landslide.
Not only that, it would be I can't even say it would be a civil war. I think if he
it will be a civil war.
I think if he yeah, I mean all right, so we'll get to that too. So but I think if he got elected and try to roll out something like this, it would absolutely be a civil war.
I'm gone. I'm going to Canada, dog.
And especially if they were trying to enforce it, like that would be scary. But here's a let's talk about this. So
this doesn't have to get approval from the House or anything. Like the House,
she's a governor. It is a public health order. She makes a decision. It's an executive order.
So the Senate, the House of Representatives, any Republican controlled
is the same thing as when Governor DeWine signed an executive order. Saying
I'm just not
you cannot go to a house. Basically, that's not yours or whatever.
I need to get the terminology better. I apologize for sounding ignorant.
All right, so let's talk about. Well, I just want to show you. This right here is in Albuquerque. People were actually going there and protesting, openly carrying and protesting. We'll just take a quick look.
Our friends, our communities.
Can we make this bigger?
I've gone 2 combat tours.
Nope.
And fought on the front lines. I've done 11 trips as an independent.
Yeah, let's go here. Now we can make it bigger.
She thinks she has the right to take away my freedom.
Openly carrying.
I don't think so.
See on his hip?
This will not stand. We will not comply.
So the people of Albuquerque are not having this either.
No.
Right? And you'll see a lot more of that. You'll see a lot more of that if this were to go on a federal nationwide level. This would be in every public park, in front of every state house. It would be insane. I just know it. But yeah, so what do you think so far, Tom?
I am, and we've talked about this, I am not 100% behind all forms of gun ownership. And we've talked about that. Mm-hmm. You know, we've had there are a couple episodes on this show where we've talked about it, right? But I've come around. I was always so against people owning guns, like assault rifles and shit like that. And after we talked and we kind of came to the conclusion, it's just not for me, but that doesn't mean that it's not for other people. You know, I was so vehemently opposed to it that I was like, no one should own it. But now, hey, I might not want to own a gun, and that's on me. You know, I have my own reasons for not wanting to.
Right. We've talked about that. Yeah.
And hey, people might find validity in that. People might not find validity in that. But the thing is, I now see it's people's right to own that shit. People protect themselves. They protect their families. They protect their neighbors. They protect those who aren't able to protect themselves in many cases, right? So I know there are people on my street people I don't know very well, anything, but there's 2 police officers that live on my road at the end, like in that little cul-de-sac turnaround area. Excuse me. Let me ask you a question. If this were to happen in Ashtabula, right, then those 2 officers could only have guns when they're on patrol, correct?
We'd have to go back and watch that. I don't know if it was in official capacity or if.
Let's think about that.
Okay.
Let's posit that scenario.
All right.
They are only allowed to have it while they're on shift, right? Okay.
Let's get back to that too. I'll ask a question about that.
Well, what if something fucking happens what if something pops off in my neighborhood? I live with a lot you with my neighborhood.
Right, so what
they can't defend themselves, and then they can't defend us.
No. So this was a public. In public, you can't conceal.
Oh, but at home carry. You can.
In private residence, you can't.
Oh, fuck, dude. I thought it. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so in public, you can't.
So you can still have your gun.
You can still have your gun, but you are
can't
not
carry it.
You can't.
You can't bring it to Costco with you.
You can't drive with it. You can't take it to Costco.
Now that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
If you drive with it, she mentions it. We'll put the description. We'll put the link to this full video. All these videos.
I don't agree with that
in
at
the
all.
description. We'll put the videos in the description. But yeah,
that's your own fucking private property.
She talks about how, like, if you want to transport it, you have to have it locked up with a trigger in a lockbox with a trigger lock. So like it has to be double locked. So imagine getting mugged at a red light.
That's what I was just saying. Imagine being in a car with your fucking kid and you're at the intersection somewhere and that motherfucker goes in to get him.
And somebody comes out to steal your car with your kid in it.
Or worse, hurt your kid, dude. Yeah. You got some sick fucks out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. But any scenario like that is...
That's fucked up. That's fucked up, man. That's your own private property, dog. You are paying, in many cases, you're paying for a car. Right? But I'm on public fucking property, and if I live on a street, dude, I might own that area. I might own that area of land, but fuck, bro, I don't own the street. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a motherfucker with a AK pointed at my fucking house and he shoots off, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
If I can't, you know what I'm saying? So technically, the road I live on is public property. You know what I'm saying? It is. So here's the thing, man. You got me. That's fucked up. I didn't even consider that while she was talking. You can't even drive with that shit, bro. I feel safer knowing that there's people on the road that have guns than I do not, because in downtown Cleveland, if I'm driving there delivering a car to someone and someone comes and mugs me, hey, I might not have a gun, but God, man, if that dude behind me did, he comes to my rescue. If he did, you know what I mean? Like, that's fucked up.
No, but if he can have it with him. He can have it with him, but it's got to be in a lock. Yeah, double locked. So by the time he gets it open,
hey, hold on real quick while I get this.
Bro. Let me unlock this box. Give me a second while I am.
Don't point the knife here. Point it like right up my.
Hold on, bro. I gotta wait. No, wrong key.
Like fuck that.
Dude. So that's. But as you see here, I mean, people aren't gonna go for it.
No.
But there's So, what about enforcement? What do you think? How do you think law enforcement is going to enforce this? Or do you think they will?
That you have it, they're going to go up?
My question is, will they enforce it?
I think anyone with half a brain won't.
Let me see. So this is the actual sheriff.
Oh my God, it's a White Forest Whitaker.
This is the sheriff of Bernalillo County.
Yeah.
And this is him talking about enforcing.
Ooh, I really like the title.
Enforcing this order.
Okay.
For I ever will hedge on what is right, and I take my oath seriously. In reference to concealed carry and open carry, the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office will not enforce this segment of the order. While I understand the urgency, the temporary ban challenges the foundations of our Constitution. Most importantly, it is unconstitutional. My oath was to protect the Constitution, and that is what I will do.
Yes.
The governor made it clear in her press conference. She knew we as law enforcement did not agree with the order, and as a result, this was solely her decision.
Blame her.
Other than this ban being unconstitutional, here are other reasons why I will not enforce the order. One, what many forget, is I have enough violence here in Bernalillo County. I do not want to have political violence towards my deputies or here in Bernalillo County. My job is to keep the peace, to make sure that the citizens of Bernalillo County are safe, and I do not believe that this order will help me do so. I'm alone.
All right. So you see right there, he is not going to enforce that order.
And that man right there is definitely not enforcing that order.
You see that? Yeah, look at his face. He says,
he's pissed.
He said, stupid bitch.
You know who he looks like? Do you remember Chris Bednarski?
I don't.
Look up Chris Bednarski later. It looks just like him.
Okay.
Sorry. But no, I mean, I agree with what he's saying. His job is to uphold the peace.
Uphold the Constitution.
And the peace.
Right.
So I don't give a fuck about you, bitch. I'm upholding my job.
I like how he threw her under the bus.
He did.
We do not agree with this.
He had the balls
her
to
sole
do it.
decision.
He had the balls to do it.
Good
bro.
on him,
But
dude.
that's what I'm saying.
Good on
People right
him.
now don't have the balls to do things. You know what I mean? And he's just out here like, no, and he even said, hey, I understand the thought process behind it. I understand certain things.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I have to believe it. You
Right.
know?
Absolutely.
I understand why kids believe in certain things, but I don't believe what they believe in. You know what I mean? Like Santa Claus. I understand that a kid believes in him. I understand why Wyatt does. But I don't fucking believe in Santa Claus.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I know
God,
that
too.
it's not comparing apples to apples, but what I'm saying is like, that's the best thing I could come up with. But just because someone says you have to do something doesn't mean that you always have to do it. But also you can show this person like, hey, in my county, you told me to do this. I'm not fucking doing it. And look, we're fucking fine. Look at the bullshit going on in Albuquerque.
This is his county.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
hey, look what's going to happen in my county and compare it to what happens to Albuquerque and see what's up.
No, Albuquerque is in his county.
It said Albuquerque and Bernalillo County.
Right. So the whole county of Bernalillo.
That's what I'm saying.
Albuquerque is in Bernalillo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. But either way, it's unconstitutional. And
very.
Yeah. And good on this sheriff of Bernalillo County for standing up and upholding his oath to the Constitution.
I agree. It's a good move on his part for his conscience.
Right.
It's a good move on his part to win favor with his people in his county.
I mean, he is an elected official.
Exactly. He's an elected official.
Right.
At the end of the day, things come down to politics.
That's
it comes
true.
down to how you play that game.
But it also comes down to doing what's right.
And it comes down to your principles as a man.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, as a man, if someone tells you to do something and you don't implicitly believe it, as a man, I think it's your responsibility to analyze the situation and see what all the possible outcomes are. This looks like a man who has been doing this a long time. Looks like he knows like a man who has been through some things politically, and and he knows the calculated risk that he's taking. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't just do this blindly, because even as we said, he's an elected official. He has to curtail favor to get reelected, right? He knows the risks and he doesn't give a shit about them because he knows that in the end he'll prevail. Someone doesn't do something like that, a public act of defiance against an elected official that's a superior to them, without knowing the implications, but also knowing that, hey, it's going to be okay in the end. And B, I stood by my principles and I stood by these people, right? Like, this isn't an act of defiance just to say, fuck you. It's an act of defiance to say, I believe in my people. I believe in the people I represent, the people I protect every day. And I believe that by defying this order, we will be safer in the long run.
All right. So let's talk about the constitutionality. So somebody in the media asked her, hey, this is unconstitutional, or you're going to have constitutional issues with this.
Yeah.
How do you plan on doing this? Like, what do you think? How is this going to work? Right. So somebody in the media asked her that, and let's see what she says.
Focus on the real criminals.
Last follow-up.
Yeah. But your point is valid.
You took an oath to the Constitution. Isn't it unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license?
With one exception, and that is if there's an emergency, and I've declared an emergency for
Boom. I want to pause it right there and just take note of that. I want to rewind that 5 seconds and just drill that into your brain if there's an emergency.
It's unconstitutional to say you cannot exercise your carry license.
With one exception.
One exception.
And that is
One exception to
if there's
violate
an
your rights.
emergency, and I've declared an emergency for a temporary amount of time, I can invoke additional powers. No constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech.
No, there's not.
There are restrictions on free speech.
There's a restriction on free speech. You can say whatever the fuck you want, but there's consequences to what you say.
Oh, yes. Okay, fair enough. But there's legal consequences is her point, right? But she said, let's rewind that. Let's hear that again. Let's take it back.
Constitutional right, in my view, including my oath, is intended to be absolute. There are restrictions on free speech. There are restrictions on my
constitutional
freedom.
right is
In
intended
this
to be
emergency,
absolute.
That's not
This
true.
11-year-old
That's why
and
it's
all these
constitutional
parents
right.
who have lost all
It's
these
absolute.
children,
It's, well, you would think so.
Correct.
You would think so. But
an
we have
ideal
restrictions on everything. Your Second Amendment right, you can't take your gun in a school.
Correct. Which
There's
makes
that.
sense, though.
But that's my point. It's not absolute. Yes, you can do it, but there are legal ramifications, which means it's
Okay. I see. Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah.
so.
they deserve my attention to have the debate.
Where's the fentanyl in
About
all this?
whether or
Where's the
not in an
fentanyl fit in?
It's probably just a cover, bro.
Like a fucking bookend? Like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna get rid of fentanyl. Something like that.
Yeah, they may be throwing it in there just and then covering it up with this issue.
Well, the reason I ask is because it said that it was a health thing about gun violence and fentanyl, and she hasn't talked about fentanyl once.
She has. If you watch the whole thing, like I
Okay.
said, we'll put the link to all these videos in the
watch it,
description.
the whole
It's a
thing,
50-minute video. I know you got to take off and
No, bro, come on. What we got? 9:03.
Yeah, we got to.
Still got 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I think we can fill it. But yeah, I mean, it's a 50-minute video total.
Emergency, we can create a safer environment. Because what about their constitutional rights? I took an oath to uphold those too. And if we ignore this growing problem without being bold, I've said to every other New Mexican, your rights are subjugated to theirs. And they are not, in my view.
Wait a minute, you're talking about crimes. There are already laws against the crimes, so how are their
I
rights?
got it, but again,
See how she cut them off? There's already laws against the crimes that they're committing. So why are you doing unconstitutional shit
Bro,
to prevent
she's taking a shit.
shit that's already a crime?
Yeah. No,
I'm
absolutely.
unsafe. Who's standing up for that right? If this climate is so out of
We'd hope
control,
law enforcement.
somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Madam Governor,
Yep.
do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No,
Oh my God, she just said, do you really think criminals are going to adhere? No, I don't. Do you think they're not going to carry a gun? No, I don't. She don't even believe the shit she's spewing, bro.
Go back.
She don't
Go
even
back.
believe the
Go
shit
back
she's
3
spewing.
seconds. Right to there.
it is so out of control. Somebody should do something. I'm doing as much as I know to do.
Madam Governor,
Yep.
do you really think that criminals are going to hear this message and not carry a gun in Albuquerque on the streets for 30 days?
No. But here's what I
Keep it going.
do think. It's a pretty resounding message to everybody else in that community to report a crime. To tell
It's a
So what she's correct me if I'm wrong, but what she's saying is she thinks that criminals will still carry guns.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
I'm stupefied. So how is someone to protect themselves? Hey, stop it. Don't point that at me.
well, see, what
the fuck?
what she did is like a favor, I guess. This is not, if you get caught with a gun and they actually enforce it, it's not a criminal penalty. You're not committing a crime. You get a fine. It's a civil penalty.
So $150.
It's like a traffic infraction, basically, which is still stupid. You shouldn't have to pay a penalty for exercising your right.
For something that, now, I think the biggest thing to realize is that we're not talking about people just carrying guns just for shits and gigs and fucking being able to wave it around in public and shit like that. What we're talking about is we're talking about people that are carrying guns for protection of themselves and protection of others.
Most people. That's they do. That's what they carry their gun for. Then you have these outliers who wave them around, flash
the extremists, like the Proud Boys, shit like that.
Not even that. Who gets? So carrying a weapon is different from brandishing a weapon.
Explain.
Okay, so if you're carrying an AR-15, right?
Yes.
You can have it strapped on your back, strapped across your chest. That is not brandishing a weapon.
Brandishing's when you take it out and
brandishing is, I would say brandishing is the way I would interpret it.
Okay.
Is if you were, let's say we're in an argument and then, maybe I do a little tap on my rifle, try to get you to
intimidate me with it.
Intimidate you. Right, exactly. That would be brandishing.
Okay.
In my eyes. But
drawing attention to it.
So, all right, so an open carry with a pistol on your hip, that's not brandishing.
No.
What a cop does, is that brandishing a weapon?
It is not.
That's my point.
A policeman, I feel, never brandishes a weapon until, like, he's in front of you and you're talking to him and you might say, like, well, I'm not submitting to that, and then he just goes like this. In my opinion, that's brandishing because now you're reaching for your fucking pistol, bro, and all I did was tell you no.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, which is my right.
Right.
If I don't feel that I'm being if you told me I'm not being detained and you told me, hey, I just want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
I'm going to leave. You have my contact information. Hit me up, And then he goes, well, no. And then he goes like that. That's when I would consider brandishing.
Fair.
Because you're trying to intimidate me. Mm-hmm. And that's... I feel police officers, sometimes that's necessary with out of control people, but and police officers have tough jobs, that they don't know when someone's
Let me ask you a question. All these this gun violence, right, that she's referring to, where do you think it comes from? Like, what is it? Domestic disputes? Is it just people, random acts of violence? Is it maybe drug deals gone bad? Is it, what do you think it is?
You talking like in New Mexico?
In Bernalillo County.
Not to sound crass, but I mean, there's a reason that Breaking Bad was set in New Mexico. Okay. They could have picked any
drugs.
Well, they could have picked any state in the country to do it, but they picked New Mexico, right? So it's because they are a huge meth distribution state. Okay. Now, fentanyl and meth aren't the same thing.
Right.
I've never done either. So, I mean, I don't know if one's better than the other. I couldn't tell you. But what I'm getting at is that fentanyl is probably a pretty common thing that they cut cocaine with out there because cocaine, New Mexico, it's right by Mexico and Texas, which is our major port. So, I mean, I would say that most of your gun violence is going to come from drug deals or drug dealers because there's a difference, right? Drug deal is on the street. Hey, man, I got this dime of
some. And then you're saying like turf war, drug dealer violence.
I'm talking like, hey,
or there was I fronted you this money. I fronted you this.
I'm talking, hey, we've got 2 Ford F-250s with the trailers on the back, and they're bringing fucking moped parts or motorcycle parts, and in the back are fucking boxes with fucking coke and fentanyl.
Are you going like Fast and Furious type shit?
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying like this is shit I've actually watched on I've actually watched shit about this on YouTube and Netflix documentaries. Like New Mexico is a fucking drug hub, man. I mean, I would say that in New Mexico, your big gun violence comes from drug dealers.
And what percent of the population do you think are the ones causing the most?
The drug dealers are 0.05%.
Small portion.
It's the smallest population.
So it's 99.9 99.95%
of a percent
obey. They're not the ones causing the gun violence.
I would say 99.95% of them are not causing the problem.
However,
this is a statewide
amazing governor of New Mexico has decided to take away the rights of all of the people in Bernalillo County and Albuquerque.
Correct. That otherwise would probably need that protection if they live in a bad area.
If they live in a bad area, right? If they're in an area,
what is to stop?
Isn't that fucked up? Isn't that really fucked up? They're in a bad area.
Stop someone,
but you want to take
from doing that? Like
nothing.
They're walking down they're going to fucking Walmart.
The criminals, she already admitted it. The criminals aren't going to obey this order.
Exactly. So you know.
So the people who are going to obey the order, they're going to be the law-abiding citizens. They're going to be the ones not causing trouble anyways.
Correct.
And then if they get in a situation where they need to defend themselves, they're fucked.
That's what I'm saying. So like they go to Walmart and they pull up in a semi-decent car. You know what I mean? Let's call it a Kia Forte, a couple years old, right? Mm-hmm. They're going into Walmart. This drug dealer who's all strung out, probably on his own product, because that's what those dudes do. Hey, I need that. I'm going to take that car because it's really fucking easy to jump a Kia.
Right.
You know, they go up to him and give me your fucking shit. In the past, no, motherfucker, get away from me.
No.
You know?
If you're a law-abiding citizen.
Give me your fucking shit. No. Boom.
Yeah.
And then they're dead.
I guess so not a law-abiding citizen. People. It's an executive order. But
she is signing death warrants for people, dude.
She really is. And that's disgusting in my opinion.
It's not disgusting.
It is disgusting.
No, it's not disgusting because disgusting is an act that isn't that's out of the norm. These type of things are the norm now, dude. These executive orders and this control is the fucking norm now, and this is just, if we want to keep being American citizens, this is the shit that we're going to have to look forward to.
Not good.
It's not good. It takes away our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It takes it away, dude. It doesn't amplify it.
Agreed.
Living in fear doesn't amplify my happiness or my life or my liberty. When I live in fear, I'm restricted. That takes away from my liberty. My life is put on hold because I'm so afraid of this shit, right? And my pursuit of happiness is destroyed because I'm crippled with anxiety and fear. Mm-hmm. It's just not fair. And she's willingly doing this and throwing this shit out there like it's no big deal, but girl, it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. And let me ask you, so we kind of touched on it earlier, but I really want to get in deep into this a little bit deeper into this. What implications do you think it's going to have on other amendments if they try to pull the same thing for other amendments? So let me give you an example, right?
Okay.
This is because I know this is going to anybody who is on that side of the aisle, I know this is going to trigger. Let's say, all right, so statistically, right? If you look at statistics, mm-hmm. Black people have a higher crime rate, right? They commit a higher crime rate proportionally to white people.
The most recent study I have read suggests so. Yes.
Okay. So
I'm not saying it's accurate, but I'm saying the most recent study suggests.
Well, so what if there was a public health order saying Black people aren't allowed outside in public because we're going to
take you away for 30 days to see if the crime goes down.
You're not allowed outside for 30 days because we want to try to get this crime rate down. Right? Mm-hmm. That's scary as fuck. That is scary that they can just wave a magic wand and poof.
Think about
our rights disappear like that.
Think about this. The AIDS crisis happened in the 1980s, right? Okay, now think about this. That was it wasn't horrible like they made it out to be. The media definitely sensationalized it. But say, hey, if you have AIDS, if this is a high AIDS area, you can't go out in public for 30 days if you have AIDS. Well, what was the common misconception about people with AIDS back in the 80s? They were all homosexuals, right? They were all queer, okay? Oh, gay people have to stay inside for 30 days to see if AIDS transmission goes down. So how do you check if someone's gay?
You have to get their blood. Well, I mean, if you check if they have AIDS.
Now you're consenting to blood tests. Now you're consenting to giving out your private sexual history, your relationship histories. It's
a public health emergency, bro.
Exactly.
We got to do it.
So now your privacy rights are violated. Because as someone who's a heterosexual male, I have no problem, you know what I mean, putting my business out there, because it's not as stigmatized. And thank God, people that identify as homosexual, transgender, the entire spectrum of that group, of those grouping, not sounding insensitive, but just not to go through it all, but I imagine for some of them it is still pretty fucking jarring. They might even be coming to terms with themselves.
Right.
Now not only am I, if I were that person, am I coming to terms with myself? Now I've got to have public health officials come to terms with who I am to dictate if it's safe for me to go outside. And that's bullshit. You're violating the basic human right of just being able to exist in America. America was founded to be free from a tyrannical rule, right? That's why they came over here. That's why my forefathers, came from England and settled on Plymouth Rock and genocided Indians and called it Thanksgiving with smallpox. You know what I mean? Like, right. Not to be insensitive, but that's what happened. So I was given that opportunity and we were given that opportunity as Americans. We come here, we're born here. The benefit to being an American is being free.
Free.
Saying
Absolutely.
what I want. Could you imagine? So think about this.
Yep.
And they make memes about this and shit. It's not funny, but I mean, you see it as a meme. Says one thing about the dictator in China. Boom, dead the next day.
Right.
A benefit to being an American is I can say whatever I want about Joe Biden, Donald Trump, whomever, and not be fucking killed for it or thrown in jail.
How about
but this could be a route that we're going down.
Right.
Who do they say Joe Biden is owned by? China.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened to what was his name?
Alex Jones?
No, the leader of the Wagner group in Russia, the one whose plane just went down recently. He started a small little rebellion against Putin, and then he
shit went down.
Plane crashed. Unfortunate, right?
Really strange how that happened.
Yeah,
didn't that plane go on a lot of trips like uninhibited? Like it was a pretty decent vessel.
Yes.
It was a trusted,
tried and true.
Exactly. And then that's weird.
Boom.
Strange. But it's just weird, man. Like and coming into this and reading it, I'm like, oh great, it's just gonna be another gun control thing, and now I gotta listen to her try to justify something dumb.
Let's take another look at her.
And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, this actually is a fucking problem, man. Like
it really is.
And again, man, I'm not for. I don't want to own a gun. I don't. I have mental health issues, where if it gets bad enough for me one day, you don't want that access. I don't want that.
And that
access.
is your right, Tom. And
but that's what I'm saying. I choose to not have access to that, but that doesn't mean I believe that other people shouldn't have access, because they can protect themselves. They're more responsible than me with their emotions, they are confident enough that if they have a bad day, they're not going to think about using it on themselves. Right. Not that I ever would, but I had issues in the past. Mm-hmm. If those come up again, I have access. I never would because of my son and my wife, but God, like, what do they say? Sometimes the temptation is just too much or something like that. And, I could off myself. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put my family through that.
It's fair. That's your right.
But my neighbor?
Personally, I would never admit that, though.
What?
That I don't carry a gun.
Hey, I carry a gun. No, but what I'm getting at is you're responsible with your shit, dude. You respect yourself and you respect the tool. It's not a weapon, it's a tool.
It's a tool.
Okay? It's a tool. You've used it for many different purposes in your life. You've had many different applications for it. Okay?
Mostly just target practice. I haven't had to use it, but I mean,
but your
I carry it with
you were
me
also
for self-defense.
trained. You were trained in a profession.
Yes.
Okay? And I imagine you were very proficient
I was.
at that. right?
Yes.
So I trust you having that, you know? I don't trust some of the people that we know that we went to high school with that are in less than savory professions.
Oh yeah,
now.
I think
I don't trust that.
I think I 100% think that if you carry a gun, you should. I'm not going to say you should mandate it because I don't think the government, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think they should be in control of what kind of training we have with firearms. But I highly recommend if you carry a firearm, use it, train with it, like get to know it, and know how to use it safely or know how to carry it safely. I see some motherfuckers carrying guns, and I'm doing one of these as they're carrying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know how to get it. I definitely say something. I am a very big stickler about that. If I see a weapon safety violation, I will point it out. Bro, get your finger off the trigger. Dude, what the hell's wrong? It's unsafe. I don't care if it's unsafe or not. You know it's unsafe.
Exactly.
There's nothing in the chamber.
Do you know that safety works?
Do you know that the safety works?
Have you calibrated recently?
There's nothing in the chamber. Are you sure there's nothing in the chamber? Like, have you cleared it? Like, yeah. What are you pointing that at there for? There's nothing in the chamber. Psh, bro,
Who gives a fuck? If there's nothing in the chamber, then why do you have it in your hand?
I don't trust you. I don't
exactly.
trust you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't trust
you're
people
too reckless.
like that, man. Like, and the thing is there are trustworthy people more often than not that are in possession of firearms because they've accepted the responsibility.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and they know the
consequences.
They know what the responsibility is. Yes.
They know what the responsibility is. They respect that responsibility, but they also respect the consequences of misuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I hate to sound like a nerd, but in Spider-Man, you know, the kid that Spider-Man, Peter Parker, his uncle dies. Gun violence. But Peter Parker at the end said, with great power comes great responsibility.
Right.
That's his famous line.
Yes.
And I think that with gun ownership, with great power comes a great responsibility.
Agreed.
And I think that a lot of people feel that way. Now, there's always those outliers that don't feel that way, that just are like, oh, fuck, yeah, I got a gun, you know? And I think that the media sensationalizes that laissez-faire, like, lackadaisical attitude towards guns, especially in films, right? Like, I mean, think about, it had Jonah Hill and Miles Teller in it. It was a true story. They were gun runners.
I don't think I've seen it.
War Dogs, I'm positive was the title. And it was a true story, and they would run guns in the Middle East. And Bradley Cooper was one of their suppliers, and he found Russian AK-47s with expired ammo. But fuck it, we'll take the ammo anyway, because ammo doesn't expire, you know? And,
right.
This, that, and the other. But in that movie, dude, all they did, they focused on the situation at hand, like the true story of running the guns and how much trouble they got in, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie, dude, what do you think they were doing when they were partying and smoking weed and fucking drinking booze? They had their fucking AKs up and they were going, and like shooting them and stuff. Like, the media sensationalizes misuse of guns. Because
oh yeah, for sure.
That could have happened. I guarantee it happened in real life. That scene happened in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you need to show it. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you need to make a joke out of it. You don't need to sensationalize. It's a PG-13 movie, so
I think some sensationalization is necessary to make a good movie.
So,
but I think people have to I think most people do. Maybe if you said PG-13, maybe that they're a little influenced by that stuff. But as you get older, there's not such an influence on you. But you have to be able to distinguish movie from reality.
And I 100% agree with you. The other thing is, like, think about the most popular video games of the past 20 years. Call of Duty,
Fortnite,
Grand Theft Auto,
Halo,
I was getting at Grand Theft Auto.
Okay. All right.
But those ones I hadn't even thought of. They're all violent as fuck, and they all involve guns.
Right.
But Grand Theft Auto, going back to 2003,
it's inception.
When Grand Theft Auto 3 came out,
mm-hmm.
which was the first, like, on view, not above view. It was 3D. The shit looked real.
Yeah, I remember playing the original Grand Theft Auto. Yeah,
yeah. The original GTA on the PlayStation was like pixelated, and it was over them, and like it was just like a top-down view. Grand Theft Auto 3 comes out for the PlayStation 2, changes the fucking game, literally and figuratively. Right now, you're doing Grand Theft Auto but you actually see that shit, dude. I'm jacking cars. I'm putting a gun at a hooker's head and banging her and then blowing her brains out and taking my $17 back. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that shit happens in reality, but not that often.
It doesn't.
You know what I'm saying?
What I'm saying
and that was kind of one of my points earlier, is that shit doesn't happen as often
as people think.
Right. So for a governor to ban guns on, you know, situations or hypothetical situations like that, or maybe some sensationalized, you know, situations. But she has statistics. But either way, I don't think that gives anybody a right to ban guns.
Yeah, but I have statistics too, man. I have statistics on whatever
statistics
you want.
can be skewed.
They can be. You can lie about them.
Yeah, I mean, you can lie about statistics, but you can use statistics to lie.
Correct. And her whole her demeanor, her use of buzzwords to kind of make her sound smart. Like when she said beseech, that's not at all what beseech means. She was just using power adjectives, I call them, to sound smarter. It's like when you read like a college football recap, right?
Right.
So you're reading on ESPN.com. Marvin Harrison, and you know what happened. Marvin Harrison Jr. from the Buckeyes had a great game. He had 10 receptions, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, and one was a hell of a 70-yard touchdown grab, right? You can say that. Like, that's fine. I get it at that point. Power adjectives. Marvin Harrison Jr. had an absolutely amazing, transcendent game that vaulted him to the top of the standings in the echelon of players. You're saying the same exact thing, just trying to sound smart, and you're not saying anything different. You can eliminate all of those words to make a more cohesive, concise article or argument. And nothing about her shit was cohesive or concise. It was all over the place with power adjectives. And like I said, going back to the English major, a weak thesis statement, it's a start, with no supporting paragraphs of substance. So now when we get to your conclusion in 30 days, either you're going to look like shit or you're going to go back and revise the paragraphs, right? And how do you revise the paragraphs? Go back and change what the fuck you did.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious to see what's going to happen after 30 days.
I'm interested to see. I'm not curious. I'm interested.
I'm interested as well. I guess that's a good word. So one more thing I wanted to kind of tie in before we take off. So she mentioned in one of the videos that we watched, she mentioned extreme risk protection orders, AKA red flag laws. So, and she made a very, she made it very known that she was kind of bringing that into the conversation. And she mentioned it in the video. She said she wants all of her, actually it's right at the beginning of one of these clips. I will pull it back up. Let's rewatch it real fast. It was, I believe it was this one. It was. All right, so let's go back. Right here. Let's watch this again. Listen to when she talks about extreme risk protection orders.
Legislature, I think it would be unfair not to thank them for their courage. And one last thing about that, I'm going to need all the local different jurisdictions to take seriously that they have tools at their disposal, including extreme risk protection orders that not every jurisdiction, I think, takes very seriously.
So basically, what I take from that is she is calling upon different jurisdictions to utilize these red flag laws, these extreme risk protection orders, to essentially. All right. So what if a red flag law is, Tom? If you don't know, a red flag law is where you can say, hey, I know Tom's got a gun. He seemed real down lately. Like he just says some things that maybe aren't like himself. I fear that he's going to hurt himself or somebody else. They can come to your house and take your guns from you without a trial. You get no trial.
So no search. So no search, just seizure.
Well, I mean, they got to search for it first, right?
But they know that you have it, so it's not necessarily searching. They're just
going to search for it.
Taking
but yeah,
shit.
if they know, let's say somebody calls in and says, "I fear that Tom's going to hurt somebody or himself with his weapon," they can come and take your weapons from you. So, and she's basically calling for all the jurisdictions. Hey, there's this ban. We got this ban on this on these weapons for 30 days. I want to make sure that you know that you can take seriously these red flag laws, these extreme risk protection orders.
Okay.
You should take them seriously. Utilize them. Somebody calls in. I see Tom with a gun. Does that qualify under extreme risk protection order?
I don't think it does. No.
No?
No.
But you think that's what it's going to be used for?
Yes. Yes, I do.
And she's basically admitting it right there. She's saying it without saying it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I 100% get what you're saying. It blows my mind.
I heard this today, and I just had to talk about it because I am definitely a believer. If anybody's ever been watching our show, they know I'm a believer in the Second Amendment. And I think it's our second most important right.
Absolutely.
That's why it's number 2. First one is freedom of speech. Can't talk about this stuff. We'll never be able to let you know that they're trampling on our rights.
That's why I think like a forum like this is so important, because it gets out these things that you might have not heard about.
Mm-hmm.
I would have never heard about it if you didn't bring it to my attention when I got here. And I want to thank you for that, because I would have been oblivious to something like this going on. And now this is definitely a situation that, you know, I need to monitor and I need to take seriously for, you know, what if it reaches Ashtabula? Well, when it reaches Ashtabula County?
Don't say when. We're not going to let that shit happen here in Ashtabula.
I hope that we don't.
But I hope this isn't a soft pitch for a nationwide ban.
I think it is, man. I think you know the answer to that.
That's scary to me.
It's
that is very scary to me.
Even as someone who doesn't fully support guns, I mean, it's very serious to me. Like, this is nuts.
It's concerning. Very concerning.
It blows my mind. Like, I didn't even know that something like this was. I didn't know that like you could do this with an executive order. I didn't know that you could have such a loose definition of what a public health order is.
And see, here's the thing. So she put this executive order in place, and then it's obviously going to get challenged in court. It's going to go through a whole process. The only way that it's going to get dealt with quick is if like she said, I think in one of these statements, in one of these clips, that somebody's probably, if I didn't show it here, it's definitely in the video. Like I said, we'll link everything. But she said probably by the time she gets done talking, there's already going to be a lawsuit drafted up. She already knows that it's going to happen. But basically the same thing that Biden did with, I think it was student loans, where he said, no, I don't think it's going to happen. But he basically said, no, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's got to go through the court process. So she's basically challenging. Like I said, it's a soft pitch, man. It's a soft pitch for a nationwide ban. And where was I even going with that? Oh,
let me ask you a question.
I get so frustrated.
Gun to your head right now. You had
gun to my head right now.
Don't you dare.
Don't.
You had to pick one order to be enforced. This or the student loan forgiveness. What are you picking?
Neither.
You had to pick one.
No, I don't. I got, like I said, gun to my head.
They're going to kill you if you don't pick it.
Then I'll die. I stand on my principles.
That's crazy. I pick the student loans and just be like, all right, I get to live. I don't know. The student loan thing's really messy. Those payments start back on October 1st.
I'm sorry, bro.
Nah, what are you going to do? I found a way around it.
There's always a way.
As a commission-based employee, I don't have a salary. There's no way to tell what I'm going to make. Income-based repayment, dog. $20 a month.
I was going to say, so you got a low-ass payment.
$20 a month for now, my boy.
Do you still accrue interest at the same rate?
You sure as fuck do. But I'm going to worry about that like next year when like 2-3 more bills are paid off and I have like an extra $1,500 a month.
So do they extend the term of your loan then? Or
No,
is there
it's still
no
20.
term?
No, so here's how it goes. So after 20 years, if you're not all paid off, whatever you didn't pay off, they forgive, but then you get taxed 20% and you have to pay that. So like for me, that'd be like 20 grand I have to pay. And it affects my credit. But as we know with credit, there's a million different things with credit.
Right.
If I pay my car loan on time,
Right.
I'm going to have good car credit. I don't plan on buying a new house ever. So I'm good on the house.
Yeah.
I always pay my credit card bill. I'll always have credit cards. 20 grand versus 100. That's just a fucking low car payment, dude.
That's true.
Give me a 6-year loan on that. Shit, dog, I'll have to pay it off in 3.
Yeah.
You know, with extra payments and...
Well, that's why I was asking if it extended the length of your loan, because that sucks.
I mean,
And I was
it
gonna
does,
say,
but...
if it did extend the length of your loan, you could just pay more towards principal instead of paying that $20. but-
Exactly. Pay more towards the principal. But you know what? Like we talked about, man. I took those loans out. Yeah, I didn't understand everything at the time, but that's on me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I had the ability to look it up, but I was just enamored with the fact I'm going to go to college. I'm going to drink some beer. I'm going to get some pussy, and I'm going to learn along the way, you know, academically.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I probably shouldn't have been an English major. That's on me. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. I mean, yeah, it keeps me up at night every once in a while. Like, oh, how am I going to do that? But
yeah.
you know
and you're
what?
not even using your degree. That's
Exactly.
hardcore.
But
But I
the
mean,
cool thing,
still
though,
got
dude-
education out of it, I guess.
Here's the cool thing. Even though I don't like it and I don't agree with it, and I really do think that I should get some fucking help with it, because my college advertised a 99.8% placement rate, and you can't tell me that I'm in that 0.2%. You know what I mean? They false advertised, in my opinion. I shouldn't have to pay that all back, but guess what? I took that loan out because they didn't hold up their end of the bargain. I held up mine, graduated real high in my class, and did everything the right way, you know, and I tried. But, you know, it's all everyone's interpretation. You know what I mean? And guess what? I took that loan out, pay that shit back, dude. That's on me. That ain't no one else's problem. I don't think that you should have to pay an extra $1,200 a month in taxes for it. Or not a month, a year. I don't think you should have to do that.
I appreciate it.
I mean, it's $100 in the grand scheme of things, like $25 a week, but that's no one's problem. You know what I mean? That's my problem. And if I don't get it paid off, I don't get it paid off. I'll die with debt.
Die with debt. I think we
I
all,
love that.
I think most of us will.
Yeah, I love that.
But it is what it is.
Makes my nips hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
But
does.
anyways, Tom, I know you got to get out of here, man. You want to close us out, brother? Or do you have something you wanted to say?
No, you know, this was I think one of my favorite episodes that we've done, and you know, we're back in the new studio, and you know, hey, thank you guys for supporting us on this journey. You
Yeah,
know,
please.
Anthony,
Actually, real quick, I do want to say something real fast, because we want to make this better for you guys. We want to bring you a better production. I hope you like what we already have, but I know I have huge dreams and aspirations for the cut, or just the media and prog, you know, in general. And we super appreciate your support, you know, watching these videos. But please give it a share. You know, we would like to take this somewhere. I would like to get a new camera. So, you know, I want to get monetized one day. Need a new camera, maybe some other lights, maybe a bigger studio. We definitely want to bring the production level to great heights.
dude, I want a Jamie.
I mean, I feel like a Jamie over here, but I'm also in the
Jamie.
conversation. It makes it a little difficult sometimes, but I try my best. And, you know, I try to have it prepared and organized. Don't always get it. As you can see, we got played back speed at 2x.
You know what would be sweet?
What's up?
If we could get like a dude that could do music for us and make us like a theme song that plays like at the beginning of every video.
We'll just hire AI.
We could hire AI.
AI will make us a song.
Or, I mean, we got some talent from Ashtabula, man.
Yeah, we could collab.
I mean,
If you know somebody who wants to
collab with us,
yeah.
you know, like
just a
hit
quick
us
little
up.
intro beat or something. Or if they
I know Top of the World's got 2 dudes from Ashtabula. They're out in Cleveland, you know, extend that reach out to
for sure.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing I did want to throw out there. My wife decided over the weekend, very bravely, that she is embarking on a new journey and starting her own business. And my wife, for those who don't know, her name's Megan. She's the most beautiful woman in the world, love of my life, and she's always wanted to do something, but I think just she's been apprehensive, scared of failure. And she's found something that she's very passionate about and she's very good at. She's been making cakes. She just did her first birthday cake for someone, or first paid job, She's real proud of it, got rave reviews, and she made me a little bit on the side. And I'm not lying when I say it's the best cake I've ever ate in my life. And that's saying something. But if you guys are interested, if you guys have any cake needs, birthday, gathering, that sort of thing, I don't think she's at the wedding cake category yet. I don't want to insult her or you, but hit her up on Facebook. It's under Kippy's Cakes.
Oh,
that's a hell of a name. I love that name.
I like that name.
Yeah. Our son's nickname is Kippy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian Fiorito, remember from Verizon? Mm-hmm. He gave him that name. Kip. Yeah. He just met him one day and he was like, that's Kip. I was like, all right. And it stuck. So Kippy's Cakes on Facebook. It's a page. She's got a couple cakes posted on there. If you guys are interested, give her a message on Facebook. She's really excited.
Give her a shout. Give her a shout.
Shout
out to Megan. Congrats, Megan. And that's my applause, but I don't think it ever comes through very well on there. But either way,
that's it for tonight.
Anything else? That's it.
All right, guys, you have all made the cut. So hey, give us a like, share, a comment, subscribe, whatever you need. We got the link to the full video at the bottom of this, so you can actually go and inform yourselves a little bit more about this issue if you haven't informed already.
Or just look it up, Google it. But we'll provide what we got.
Yeah, and hey, we'll be back. We might have another episode coming a little bit later in the week. Have some interesting guests that we have lined up. I'm really excited for that, and we'll have more content like this coming too. We plan on doing 2 episodes a week recording, so we'll see the rollout schedule on that. But until then, we'll see you guys later, and keep on keeping on.